Hello and welcome to Two-Man Power Trip of Wrestling. Host JP John Poz. With me today, a very special guest, former WWF Superstar, powerlifter extraordinaire, Mr. Ted Arcidi. Ted, welcome in. How you doing?
Good, great to be here, man.
What is going on in your world? What are you up to? I know you're extremely busy still. You're keeping very
Yeah,
active.
I'm getting a lot of acting stuff. As you know, probably from my sites, I've been acting since '97 now, and I had a lot of roles. I got a good WIMDb. I've done a lot of work, film and TV, and I just had a couple auditions this morning. One for an independent movie down the Cape, and then one for HBO. Good parts. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I get callbacks. And callbacks, we fly into cities. We'll fly into New York City or LA for those too. And then, but these are good. Hope I get some sort of lead in a series. That's what I want.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Do you think the wrestling background has helped your acting?
I think so, because a lot of people still remember. It's funny you said that, because I got some parts when I did an audition the first round. The director would come right in and say, "Hey, Ted, it's okay. I'm a fan." So that felt pretty cool, you know, a director from North Carolina doing something. I was on, what was it, either Nurse Jackie or The Leftovers, one of those. And that felt pretty cool, because I guess the wrestling, at least my generation, when we did it, that had the most audience, I think. People remember that than this other stuff, because it's too convoluted now. But they remember the LJN days, the Moroccos, the British Bulldogs, me, John Studd, because that was really, I think that took over by storm by most globally, don't you think?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, you had millions upon millions watching. I mean, God, one show had 30 million people watching.
That was the peak, and I'm so glad Hogan, he's the one he's the golden goose, and I just hung on to that group, and I was so lucky that I set the record during that time. And Vince called me in, and we talked contracts, and he sent me through school. And the guy always said, "Ted, I love your lifting and stuff, but you gotta, I'll give you opportunity, but wrestling's a whole different world." And I took it to heart. And I said, "Vince, I'm gonna work my ass off at the camp, and I want to get as good as I can, you know." And I think I became better when I was a heel down in Texas.
You got the grasp of the business,
heel when I went to Stampede, yeah. But he says, "I'm going to start you off as a heel. I mean, as a face, because you're known in the Northeast, especially because of the world record." And that was hot off the presses. That was on all the sports TVs and stuff, being the first man to bench 7. So, you want to start off as a face. And a good wrestler does start off as a face, too, you know.
Absolutely. It is just so interesting, like, that you're still, like, in it and everybody still recognizes you because of the WWF from the 80s, just the power of that golden era, that Hogan era.
It's amazing. Yeah, you're right. And I think another 100% has got to be for the internet. That's like a whole new life. So you figure the wrestling by itself, all the reruns and the internet, the signings, and then the people see me on mainstream media that recognize me with the acting and the TV. That just hits you twofold. So, yeah, that's why I'm getting a lot of signings now too. But whenever I get a good part in a series or film, it just like everything just gets like pronounced like 1,000%, you know, because there's not a lot of wrestlers other than the guys that made it good with the acting, The Rock and Cena, they're great actors. And then the other guy, he's doing really good work, is Batista. He's a great fucking actor, man. Other than that, if you just got the wrestling, that kind of keeps you in that one dimension. I want to be in all the dimensions, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy to think, though, that, like, you could be acting, but people recognize you from 40 years ago from wrestling. I love that. It's so cool.
Because I'm staying in shape. I mean, I'm not benching nowhere crazy weights. I had both shoulders replaced, both knees replaced. I had my hip replaced, but I'm repping. It's not a lot, but I can rep now 200 pounds for reps. So I still look like I could do some damage, which is good for like blue collar acting and like character roles and stuff. I still look like me. And God, with all due respect, some of these other wrestlers in my generation, they didn't take care of themselves. They're in tough shape. They don't even look like they do. You know, people wouldn't recognize them. But thank God people still recognize me off the street.
That's great. You kind of got to keep that same look, like that LJN. People remember that
Yeah,
LJN. You got to
that's
keep that same
amazing.
look.
That mileage I got from that fucking doll. I mean, Vince, he was so good. I want to see him again. And every time I see him, I'm going to thank him, because between him and Fritz Von Erich, they kept me on national TV. I got the strap down in Texas with the Von Erichs. I was booked a lot down there, and good promotion. And I had Percy Pringle, who's Paul Bearer. He was my manager, and we did some pretty good promos, if you saw on that YouTube too, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kind of some forgotten gems from you guys. A little bit of a different character from you.
Yeah, and I think people like that too. That's why I'm glad we found these old broadcasts from World Class and from Stampede, and they let us use them, because some of these stuff, they didn't see it because I wasn't in too long. I was in maybe 2 years, and then I get into the supplement business. But that was some good promo work, which was good. And especially when the guys at Stampede and down World Class, they said, wow, you could deliver a good promo. I said, thanks, man. I think that was just always in me, my entertainment. That's why I get into the acting, because I love promoting. I love entertainment. You got to have that element in you,
Absolutely. I was just watching a promo from you the other day with Mean Gene. Early 1986. So
that
funny.
was right before the WrestleMania, but that was kind of passive. I mean, it was okay, but I was a baby face, and you couldn't really go nuts,
But he was so funny, because you're like, this is a 26-inch or 28-inch python.
Oh,
and he
yeah,
was being so sarcastic back to you.
Yeah. Man, I was so lucky. I mean, think about it. That first year, I got a full main event with John Studd at the Pack Boston Garden main event. That was on Primetime Wrestling. That's awesome. And that was probably one of my best matches. And Studd helped me out that whole match as a heel. And we got over big time there. I was at WrestleMania 2, and I never lost on TV, which is great. And they gave me a fucking doll. And then going to World Class, I had a manager, and I was on, I had the strap there too. So I was, for a guy in there for 2 years, where these other guys got to literally pay their dues and work in the underlings, the other Southern leagues a while before they get called up by New York. I really had a good break, but I think that's because of the weightlifting. And Vince always said that. He goes, I want to show people who the world's strongest man is. So it kind of made sense at the time. And he did me right, man. I can't complain. And like you said, now with the internet, it's fucking crazy.
Tell us about the YouTube channel where everybody can see it and find it.
It's Ted Arcidi YouTube. And that's got, we just got this going with the release of a lot of broadcasts. And we got the world record lifts when I was in Hawaii at the Hawaii International Powerlifting Championships. We got my world record exhibition behind the neck press, standing, no jerky, standing behind the neck press, strict. I would do this regularly, 335 for threes. My best is 375 for three. That's a world record. I've never seen anybody do that standing with just a belt on, no herky-jerky, straight up and down. Not a jerk, just straight up and down power. I got that. And then I got a couple interviews, one from World Class, one from Stampede. And I think we're going to be adding some stuff too, because we got a lot of subscribers now. We got over 1 million fucking hits, which is unbelievable in just 2 months. And we're going to be dropping in some of my acting. Like I got a couple commercials I did. We'll be throwing those into just to, just show them my range, of what I could do. So I feel very fortunate that I made that transition into acting, and it worked out good. But I had to put my time in too. When I get into acting, I didn't just start acting. I had to go to acting classes. I'd fly to New York. I'd go into Boston from New Hampshire, Manchester, where I'm based. And I'd be taking scene study classes from casting directors, from scene study people, coaches, and stuff like that. Sometimes I'd stay in New York City 3-4 days and just absorb all this and just act. And then I would do a lot of low budget stuff, low budget movies, student films, which was great because you got the tomorrow's good directors, and you're in some of their films, and they give you for pay your scene in a reel, which is good. So I got my best scenes together, and I threw in a couple non-union commercials, and I put it on what they call an actor's reel. And then I sent that out to New York, and I ended up picking up an agent right away for commercial and film and TV. So that worked out good. But I had to put my time in. I mean, I had to work like 2 years just doing free shit, you know. But it works out. You got to work at it, just like with the wrestling and the lifting. It doesn't come to you. You gotta work at it. Work. And I got that from my mom and dad.
Good genetics too, right? You must have good genetics.
Oh yeah. I got the genetics from my. Well, my dad's Italian, Sicilian, and Napoleon from Naples, and then my mother's straight Polish. So there's your strength right there. My uncle played football for Duke, and he was a World War II hero. He got the Silver Star from the president, and I get good. But you never notice it in my family. I'm one of 7. Okay, I got 6 other siblings, and it's so fucked up. It's they're all doctors, lawyers, professional people, and I'm the one. I went to dental school, but I dropped out because I wanted to set the record. And I told my dad, I know it bummed him out, but he says, you're never going to go back. I go, no, I'll go back. But he was right. I never went back because then I got into the wrestling after that. And there's a story about that too, when he found out I was getting into wrestling, because, I broke the guy's heart and I feel bad, but we made up when he started seeing me on TV, and he says, yeah, maybe he's going to make a go with this, because you got to put yourself in his genre. He's the son of an immigrant family. And that culture is like, how can someone make money as a weightlifter or a wrestler? Because that was like considered kind of low brow back then,
Right.
And that's the beauty of the guy. He wanted me to get into dental school because he was a dentist who became an orthodontist, and I was going to take over his business. And I did like that. I trained to be in college, a phys ed teacher with a bio minor. So I had a lot of sciences. But then I thought, it sounds like a good transition being a dentist. But I just ended up making gains after gains without the juice either. I got up to a 600-pound natural bench in 82 when I graduated from Norwich. Then I started with the juice. And I knew if I can get 600-pound natural bench, nice touch and go, no wrist wraps, no elbow wraps, just the belt, I said, I'm going to get 7. Because the juice, if you take it right, and I didn't take a lot either. The most I took the last 2 weeks before any contest, you're going to shit. You're not going to believe me, but I tell people it's the truth. 750 milligrams a week the last 2 weeks. These people are taking that every fucking day. That's why they're dying today too, But I knew I was going to get it, and I just stayed on course, and I left dental school, and then the whole tidal wave, it just happened the night I set the record. I had been talking to Ken Patera, seeing him at the Garden with a couple friends, and he told Vince about me, and then Vince was seeing me in the muscle magazines and shit on the cover and stuff. So that was just timing. I guess you could say that timing. It really worked out well. And that is unbelievable. And then getting on TV with Vince, and that's just not national, that's global, because that guy like took over everybody at that time. And I just owe him a gratitude of thanks. And same thing with Fritz Von Erich,
What do you think about the Vince stuff going on today? What do you think about that stuff?
You mean the stuff about the sexual harassment?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I think it's a lot of that is they're jealous, just like the wrestlers were jealous, and they're trying to take him to court for PSD, whatever that is. Vince, he's not a den mother. He's not a therapist. He's a promoter. He's an adult. And these other wrestlers like me, okay, they get down and out. They want to go after somebody. They're jealous. They think they're going to get money. I think that's wrong. I would never do that to the guy. These guys put the shit in their nose. They took the shit in their arms. They took all the Xanax and stuff, and they made themselves go crazy. It's not Vince's fault. And I still think half of these things are, and it's been going on since the 90s. I think a lot of this is false claims, They're just going after the guy because they're jealous. And I think that's sad. And I would never do that. Never do that. They should be thankful, because if they weren't put in a position where they all became superstars literally overnight with TV. You know what they'd be, fucking Johnny? They'd be fucking gym rats now. They'd be dead gym rats. That's all they'd be. You know? So that's
crazy times. But you mentioned about your dad, and what did he say after you broke the record? What did he say then? Was he proud?
Yeah,
of you?
he goes, okay, now you're gonna go back to dental school. And I said, yeah, but I'm kind of waiting to see because I kind of want to get into this wrestling. So we weren't talking for that month, March of '85, and when he heard that, he still didn't want to talk because he wasted like, I was in Tufts University School of Dental Medicine for the first semester. Then I dropped out, and he thought I was going to go back, but he wasted on me. And this is kind of sad. And I wanted to pay him back too. 15 grand, which is a lot of money back then. And then the article came out in the Boston Globe, big fucking spread. Ted Arcidi, world record holder, is now going to sign with the WWF. And my father read that article. It was all over the world because there was no internet then. It was like the Boston Globe, New York Times, USA Today. Everybody read that thing. So I got a call, and I tell other people too this. This is a true story. I had one of those answer machines, you know, the 80s, where you leave a message after the beep.
Yep.
And my father's on the phone, just like this. He goes, Ted, I just saw the article in the Globe. If you even harbor a thought of joining that circus, I'm changing the locks. Click.
Whoa.
And I saved that message, Johnny, for like 20 years. I wanted to keep it, and I lost it. And I think he knew I wasn't going to go back because he didn't understand still then. He heard WrestleMania 1 just come out in '85. And he thought it was just a fad, you know, because the guy, this is the beauty of the guy. He wants me to make a living. How are you going to make a living doing that? I go, Dad, I got to give it a shot. I got to give it a shot because I think I'm athletic enough too. And I think I would be a draw. And then he was very upset, and we didn't talk for a while until he saw me on TV. Then we started seeing each other again. I was cool with the rest of my family, with my mother and my 6 siblings, but my dad, I felt bad. I felt bad. There was a lot of empathy, but I just had to follow my dreams because I knew if I'm never going to do this again, I got to give it a fucking shot, you know, because I'm always going to regret it. And I'm not the kind of guy that wants to have any regrets, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But
So,
hey,
where were you guys located, Johnny? You up in California?
No, I'm in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So
okay.
I'm a Northeast
Bam
guy
Bam
like
Bigelow
you.
Company. Bam Bam.
Yes.
I love
Yep.
that guy. I used to shoot the shit with him when I see him at auditions in New York. Great guy. And I think one of the biggest things was I think I thanked him for this, but he saved his life. He saved some kid's life. He was burning, and he went into a burning house. He got burns on himself, but he saved the kid's life. So he's got to be in heaven, man. I loved him. He was a good guy.
Yes.
He was down
Yes.
in my territory too with Von Erich before he went to New York.
Yes, and my wife's uncle went to high school with him, and he saved him from this like gigantic fight. It's a smaller guy. He saved him. So he was saying that
Like
he goes,
a
I
big
love
rumble
him.
fight, John?
Yeah, he said he had to like protect him. He's beating guys up, and like he had to get him out of the fight. He said it was a huge fight breaking out. And he said I would have got my ass kicked. He said it saved me big time. He said, love that guy. I was like, yeah, he's such a baby face.
We know about. How about the things we don't even know about? That kid was insane, and he was big, and he was tough. And I remember he was pretty friggin' athletic. I saw him in a couple dark matches when I was with Vince, when they brought him up before he went back to Texas. And that guy's like skirting the top rope, doing headbutts and shit. I go, wow, fucking insane. And he always had respect
cartwheels
for me and stuff. He was a good guy. It just sucks how he died. What did he just have a heart attack or something?
Yeah, but they were saying he was diabetic and wasn't taking his medicine either. So that played a role in it. Yeah.
Same thing with my buddy Hercules. Larry Hernandez?
Ray, wasn't it?
Ray Hernandez. Yeah, Ray. And Matt Bourne, he died in his sleep. They both died in their sleep. Like, what the fuck? How did they die, John?
Crazy. Who knows? Yeah, just nuts. Those
Do you think
guys.
it's because they took drugs like the Xanax and stuff and they couldn't get off it? Because I know My brother's a drug counselor, and he says with the fentanyl, he says, don't believe what they say, Ted. Only 5% that could recover. The 95%, they can't get off the shit. They end up dying. That's such a small recovery rate. Maybe it's the same way with that shit, you know?
Could be, yeah. Who knows, like, what they put in their system, and, you know, eventually it catches up to them. It's just crazy with all those guys passing away.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
When you look back, right, at that era and getting into the, who actually, like, physically trained you? Tony Altamore or who's training
Tony Altamore. Tony Altamore trained me the most because Vince put me into that wrestling camp in Orange, Connecticut. And I was there for, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months. I wanted to be in there longer, but Vince, because Patera was in the can at the time, they needed another strongman right away. I wanted to do another 2 months. He goes, no, we want Arcidi now. So they had me fill the world's strongest man thing right away. And that's another thing. I was the first guy in his wrestling history to be called the world's strongest man, you know? And then they gave it to Mark Henry. And I'm very, very grateful that he gave me that moniker first, you know?
True, too, right? I mean, technically, you know, very true.
Yeah. Yeah, Altamore was good. He was part of the Sicilians. He was old school. And I think he would have been a better coach, a better teacher to me when I was a heel. Because he was like the ultimate heel, him and Albano, you know, the Sicilians. And he was talking about some stuff off the cuff, behind the wrestling scenes, that I learned a lot about because I was being thrusted into a sport, a genre, where he says, Ted, a lot of people are going to be gunning for you because you got right in. Vince put you right on top right away, top 15 wrestlers, and they're going to be pissed off because you got to hold your own and listen to the people that like you, but there's going to be people that don't like you. And he was so right because there's that animosity. The same animosity that hit my buddy Paul Levesque, Triple H, when he was down in WCW. There were people gunning for him because they pushed him right along pretty good there. But I'll tell you, Paul turned out to be like probably the best fucking heel I've ever seen. Paul Levesque. Has he been on your show?
No, never had Triple H on. That would be a nice
Try to
one.
get
Yeah,
him if you could, but he's phenomenal. And little backstory on Paul, because he was from Nashua, next town down from here in Manchester. When I was having my Arcidi Strength System, a vitamin supplement line that was advertised in Joe Weider's magazine, he was helping me with that line, helping me work in the store, helping me with the women's gym. That fucking kid was a great promoter, but he knows business. He really helped out my businesses, Paul. And I always give him praise for that. And then when he was making it in wrestling, it's like, wow, he deserves everything he's got coming because he's a fucking worker. And I like to think that I helped him with his lifting because I got him bulked up and stuff, which is good.
So how did you meet him, like, originally? Like he just
came up to me.
He came up to you. Okay.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know, just maybe 21, 20, and I was training at Gold's, and we befriended each other, and then he come up to visit me all the time at my store, at my mail order, and I got him to model some of the stuff, the shirts and stuff that we had in our catalog, and he'd work in the store, and then with the women's gym because he's really good at like promoting because he was part of a Gold's gym, and he got me into the marketing aspect of what Gold's Gym was for my women's gym. The EFTs, the automatic withdrawals, the fish bowls to get more people interested in your gym, the tours, the TV things. He set that up. He helped me get connected with that. So he really, really expounded my customer base because he knew so much. He's a businessman. He was a businessman back then. He promoted all the bodybuilding shows around here in New Hampshire. That was Paul. And he was a great bodybuilder himself. But when he started putting on the weight and stuff, he wanted to get into wrestling. And I turned him on to Kowalski in Boston because that was a normal thing to do. I knew Walter from before. And, Paul just took off like a fucking rocket. And, like, he's got everything coming. He deserves everything coming his way because he paid his dues. And I think he might have gotten that from me with the diligence of training hard, going beyond just because you're going to work another hour harder than the other guy. Somewhere in the world, another guy's going to try to beat you. And he kept that genre in his head that I told him. And I think it worked out good because he put that into wrestling too. So, yeah, he's great. I still think, though, he shouldn't have taken that COVID shot that September. And then he ended up getting really, really, really sick. So he had to get like a defibrillator and a pacemaker because he almost died. He had his heart was only pumping 18%. He almost was fucking dead if it wasn't for Stephanie rushing him to the hospital. But he doesn't think that. But I still think that thing, COVID. I've never got the shot. My brother's a surgeon. I got COVID when I was filming in New York. And I only got it for like a half a day, like flu symptoms and some dizziness. And I lost my smell for almost a year, the full smell. I was getting it back little by little, but that was COVID because my brother had me go take a blood test. And he says, I want to see if you got the antibodies. That means you had COVID. And sure as shit, I had the antibodies. He says, good. That means your body's fighting it off. You don't have to get a fucking vaccination. And I never did because I had a lot of friends that died, younger friends too, athletes that you don't hear about. They died. They got that, the two things, whatever hit Paul, your pulmonary, your lungs, and your circulatory system. It fucks it up somehow. It really screws up your heart. It attacks, makes viruses. It just was not good. Some people, they didn't get good results. Did you hear about it too, Johnny?
Oh yeah, heard all about it. Just crazy.
And we couldn't talk about it because we'd be look like we're like anti-vax, whatever. But that was when Biden was running things. That they tried to make it like everyone had to take it. And you couldn't. There was no free speech. You couldn't talk it down.
Yeah, just nuts. When was the last time you talked to Triple H?
Oh shit, years ago. I lost touch. I'll probably get back with him again, because I'm sure we got a lot to catch up on. But we touched base, and it's too bad what happened to China too. I don't know the whole thing about that, but she was in here once with him, way long time ago when they were visiting, and then she was out of the scene, and then Stephanie, I guess, became Paul's girlfriend. But it's too bad about China, how she went that way with the porn and shit. That's not fucking good. And then she just died. I think she was on drugs. Did she die of drugs?
Yeah, drug overdose. Yep.
Fuck. What kind of drugs, Johnny?
Ooh, I don't remember. what it was with her, but I remember it was an overdose. Yeah, they were filming her and stuff and doing documentaries like when she was out of it. It was weird. Like,
Wow.
They really took advantage of her towards the end. Or her manager, whoever that was.
Not for nothing, but she's an adult. She could have said enough's enough. She could have cut that shit out. But honestly, I think once you get all that notoriety and fame and exposure, you don't want to lose it. So it's kind of, I hate to say it, lazy, but she wanted to keep that same attraction by going into porn. And that to me is lazy. I mean, who the fuck? That's not classy. I think that's why she's not in the Hall of Fame, because they click her name. She's like a porn star, or was,
Yep.
So that's personal with Paul, and he's so much better off with Stephanie. They got great kids, 3 girls, I guess, and shit, they got to be in college now.
Yeah, I think China was accidental overdose. It was like alcohol and pills, or like Oxycontin and different sleeping medication. So
maybe like Kurt Hennig was also accidental because he died in a fucking hotel room, right?
Yep.
Jesus. Let me ask you something, John. My class, my genre in the 80s, how many of us, if you had to put a percentage on, if you had to hazard a guess, how many of our group is dead? Is it over 50, over 60, over 70? I mean, who the fuck is left?
It's crazy. I would say like 60% if I could think about it. Maybe more. I can't even think of obviously DiBiase, Duggan, Hogan. I mean, there's a bunch of guys, one-man gang, but there's so many more that are passed away.
Yeah, and I don't like the sight of, what's his face? Good guy, Jake. I hear he's wearing an oxygen mask sometimes. What the fuck's that from? Smoking too much?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the last of the Mohegans. Well,
yeah,
I'll tell you
right.
one thing, it keeps me going. Like I run twice a week. I do a mile twice a week. which is like an 11 or a 12-minute mile. But that's good for me because I'm 245. So that's a good pace for me. But I tell you, I make myself get up and do that after my stretching because I don't want to end up like these other bastards. You know, you get idle and there goes your autoimmune system right down the tubes. And then you're up for diabetes and God, the whole fucking list. Put on the TV set. All you see is medical commercials. You know, I don't want to be that.
Absolutely. Do you keep up with current wrestling? Like, do you see WWE now with Triple H in charge? How much money they're making? They're making billions.
I just see clips of Paul talk in the interviews talking about next thing, but I hear he's doing a great job. WrestleMania was just last week, right?
Coming up.
It's coming up. Okay. I know they're breaking records in the arena. I don't think they're breaking the record from WrestleMania 3 in the Silverdome, but I don't think they're doing as well with the pay-per-view. I could be wrong as when we were. What do you say, Johnny?
Well, now because it's on Peacock, you don't really get a pay-per-view number generated. You just have people paying for the streaming service. And if you have the service, you get the pay-per-view. So they say more people are watching, but it's really impossible to determine. I don't think it's because the people that were paying back then were literally paying per view. Yeah. This is weird. Yeah, they call it PLE, Premium Live Event now. It's technically not pay-per-view.
Do you think it's making an impact as much as us or not?
It's weird because of how much all the prices is, like in the inflation, everything. I feel like financially, but not as many fans. No way. There's no way there's as many fans.
Yeah, you're not the first to say that too, because I was stunned when they said that. Everyone remembers Morocco, British Bulldogs, Atlas, me and Stud, Hacksaw, the whole fucking crew, Ray Hernandez. But these guys now, they're more high flyers. I don't know. It just seems like it's more diluted. Is that wrong or what? Because I wouldn't recognize them on the street, but then again, I'm not watching them either.
Some guys you would be able to, like Roman Reigns, Sika's son, like the guys like that, you probably would be able to recognize.
Right,
huge
guys.
Yeah.
The guys that they're really pushing, but it seems like everybody looks the same. You know what I'm saying? Like we look like wrestlers. I mean, we had the fucking size, the athletic ability and everything. I love that stud match I was in because I was doing like double axe handles off the rope, jumping and stuff. And that was fucking great. But I don't know. Yeah, today it seems like they got some great moves and stuff. But I remember what Vince told me a long time ago when I was at the Garden. And he'd say, Ted, I got you here because I don't care what people say. And they used to call him Caesar. Remember that? They used to call Vince Caesar because he was like Caesar. And he says, I got my high flyers, I got my technicians. He says, but nobody loves wrestling more when they see two big fucking muscle heads like you and Stud taking it outside the ring. One smashing a head, one blocking a head, one throwing him into the turnbuckle, two big guys going at it, clawing each other. No, that draws the most. And, I think he's right. I really do. To this day, I think he's right.
There's definitely something to that for sure. People love seeing that, even still to this day, when there's two guys, which you don't see as much, but when there's two huge guys going against each other, it gets a lot of attention.
Yeah. Like what's his face? Brock. He brought the house down. He was phenomenal. I love how he went back to the ultimate UFC and he fucking dominated. That's phenomenal. That is unfucking believable. Unbelievable athlete.
Yeah, he's something special. When you look at like those guys back in the day, I know you worked Ultimate Warrior, Dingo Warrior, and World Class. But like, what do you think of like guys like that who's like just a physical beast, but maybe not technically proficient? Maybe could be a little bit stiff in there.
They say that too. I mean, you're gonna get people saying he was big and everything. It's usually the people that they're jealous because they're big. But he can't wrestle. But something, the guy did something right, Warrior. He had some good moves, like the Road Warriors, devastating moves. Like when I was in Texas, I had a devastating clothesline. Fuck the bear hug. That was for pussies, old school. I went right to the clothesline right away. As soon as they turned around at the ropes and we looked at each other, then I just kill him with a clothesline. That made an impact. So I tell these people, guys like the Warrior, the Road Warriors, you could say whatever you want about that. Of course they're not technical. but they're fucking power moves. And that's what people love, going back to my original saying. And no matter what, I know the Warrior got an attitude with Vince, and he tried to hold up WrestleMania with the money and stuff, but Vince always brought him back because, Johnny, he always made Vince money. He always did. Always did. And they could try to slam him like they did before, but if you look at the stats, he drew like a motherfucker.
And Brad was into his matches. You know, his WrestleMania matches were all great. So obviously he was doing something right.
That made him totally solidified in history, him against Hogan. That was a great, great fucking match. But do you see how even after that, they're trying to knock him down like he's not a wrestler? Fucking a power move sell. I'm sorry. They fucking sell. Big, muscular guys sell, whether you like it or not. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of guys that sell, what about Hulk? Were you a big Hulk guy? Were you a big Hogan fan?
Oh, yeah. Terry was cool. I used to shoot the shit with him all the time. And I'm so glad he did that stint with Trump. You know, for him, with his back problems and knee surgeries and back surgeries, he got pumped up for that thing at Madison Square Garden. He looked pretty fucking good, to be honest with you. He looked good at that fucking that rally there for Trump at the end at MCG. You know, when he said, "I don't see any fucking Nazis here," he looked really good. And if it wasn't for him, man, WWE wouldn't be where it's at. He, after that Rocky movie, and Vince had the foresight, he carried that publicity and that exposure off right into wrestling. And yeah, what a run Terry had, though. I mean, we're talking 30 years, going on 40 years. Great run, man. And I was just so happy that, you know, he used to mention me in the promos and stuff. And that's a lot when they say, yeah, Ted Arcidi, world's strongest man. And that just followed me everywhere, which is unbelievable. But yeah, Terry, all the respect in the world for him. He deserves everything he's got coming through. Everything. And he was a good actor too for that movie. When he was in the boat down in Florida, he was a pretty good actor, man. He's
Thunder in Paradise. Yeah.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I feel like people somehow forget. Without him, you're not having this huge WrestleMania with 100,000 people. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like don't have anything without Hulk.
Yeah. It all started in 85, 84. Actually, 85, WrestleMania 1. I mean, that's when Lauper made it mainstream with Albano, the Rock and Wrestling Connection, when you were like, I don't know, 4 or 5. But that carried over. And ever since, it's been mainstream. It never was a fad. And what a ride, man. No, he totally deserves everything. He's a good man, too. He's a good man. And, you know, some people go after him. I think, what was it? One of the Nasty Boys, they taped him in his house in Florida having sex or something. And
Bubba the Love Sponge, yeah.
Yeah. And then he ended up getting, what, 200 million or 100 million? God bless him. They shouldn't have been prying his business, you know?
Crazy times. They try to, once you get to a certain level, they do try to knock you down. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, you know, and I know. I mean, before Warrior died, even before they brought him back for the Hall of Fame and shit, they did a whole show on knocking him and his Warrior camp and his Warrior school. And they had wrestlers, I don't know, purposely, but just saying how shitty of a wrestler. And I'm thinking, how can you do that? The guy had power moves. No, he wasn't a technical wrestler, but he killed people and people loved it. Don't go against the people. And they were. And I think that's why Paul felt bad. And Paul brought him back. And I really give kudos to Paul for bringing back Warrior, because he was a mainstay. He helped build that fucking federation, you know?
It is funny that everyone always says Vince will bring guys back for money, but a lot of the guys that came back were because of Triple H. Ultimate Warrior, Bruno came back as a Triple H. Like, a lot of guys came back because Triple H got him to come back.
Yeah, Triple H had a hot spot with him, which is good. And I guess Bruno died a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lived into his 80s though.
God bless him, man. One of the best world champions. Right before. And Freddie Blassie, I was tight with him too. He was really, really, I mean, he was great with, what was Hogan's first name? Sterling something, right? He was Hogan.
Sterling Golden, yeah.
Yeah, he was great with him, man. I used to love shooting the shit with him. I just felt like between him, Fuji, and then I'd work with the Sheik. Sheik and I had a good run in the Midwest, late in 86. And we fucking filled the houses with that. He was so good. He worked with me and he would coach me and everything looked real. I mean, we're talking suplexes, place going shithouse because the Sheik had so much heat. And like, I was like the All-American guy with the world record. And in the Midwest, yeah, we packed it. But yeah, but I'd say the Sheik and Volkov, they were my best friends. I traveled a lot with them. They were really good. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they had so much heat. It's ridiculous. As soon as Volkov would do the national anthem there for the Russian national anthem, he would get booed out of the building.
That was unbelievable. That's when people took it to heart, because that was during that Iranian crisis. And people were at a very high temperature in the country then. And timing is everything. That's when we had the hostages released, and it was the balls. He picked a great gimmick. And as time has it, he really was the antithesis of like an Iranian terrorist. He was a bodyguard for the Shah. That's when they had a democracy, and he had to leave the country because they were going to kill him. And that's when the Shah left. The Shah of Iran left the country, and he followed. And he was a great Olympic wrestler. He got a gold medal. He's like Patera, a true Olympian athlete, and he was good. And he always loved me with the weights and what I achieved. And so we had a mutual respect. And it was sad to see him go. I guess he died a couple of years ago. I didn't think he was that old, because he kind of looked and he carried himself like he was in his 70s, but I didn't know he was in his 80s. Wow.
Yeah, he lived a long life too, especially if you hear, all the crazy partying stories and everything else with Sheiky Baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, he lived a long life.
And he did a lot of work, I found out, with Gary Hart in Texas, because he'd come down when I was down there, and we'd hang out together. We did a Texas stadium show with the Von Erichs down there. And he's over because he was down there already. He used to go down there a lot. Gary Hart, I wish he made it to New York, but even if he didn't, he's probably one of the best managers in the business, I think. I really do. And I read his biography too. And man, he goes back to the days with the spoiler with Don Jardine in Australia. And Don Jardine, when I worked with him down in Texas, I didn't realize, but he was a real nut. He used to kick the shit out of people, like off stage and stuff like that. He was a tough MFO, big time. Don Jardine, yeah. But he used to go a lot with Gary Hart down in Australia. I was in Australia too. Vince sent me on a tour down there. That was pretty cool. That's when I worked with Matt Bourne. Matt was a good worker too in Texas too, but I guess the drugs got to him too. He started missing shows and shit. He was great as the first Doink, and then I don't know. He just started missing shows. I don't know. These drugs, it's sad. It really is sad. There's another guy that's gone before his time.
Way too early. Yeah, crazy.
I always liked Matt because we used to shoot the shit. He went to Portland State or Oregon University, one of those, Oregon State, and he was a legit shot put thrower, like almost All-American. And he was smart too. He spoke well, but when he took the coke and he did the grass, he'd just be looking for fights, man. He'd just be looking for fights.
Wow.
It's something just took over in him, And I just had a signing with my buddy Brian Blair. And Blair told me the story about him in the bar when he was all coked out and he went at it with Blair. And he was going to bite Blair's fucking nose off. And Blair ended up biting his lip off. And he went crazy. But he came back. He went to the hotel after the fight, went back to his room, got more coked up, came down and wanted to fight Blair. It was like 3 different times they tangled right in the bar. And Ric Flair saw the whole thing too.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Guys are nuts.
But I'll
Become
tell you,
animals.
Blair, I didn't realize this, but Blair was a tough motherfucker. He was a strong guy to tangle like that and win too. He's a good guy. I saw him, like I said, 2 weeks ago down in Jersey, and he had back surgery, and he had some serious back surgery, but he's doing well now. He couldn't even walk. Something about backs, Johnny, and the wrestlers, like they take a beating, man, and you got to get Yeah, you get that spinal stenosis. You got to get that arthritis out of there. And sometimes you got to get plates and rods put in there. But it made a difference because he said, Ted, I was so bad I couldn't even walk. I had to get, and he was out for like a year. Seriously. He was like in a wheelchair for 3 months. You know, you can't fuck with a back. But now they got surgery. They, you know, it's more pronounced. It's more defined where they get to the problem, which is good.
Yeah. You mentioned Patera. I wanted to ask you about him. When he came back to WWF, is that why you left, or what was the reason that you actually ended up leaving WWF?
Vince didn't want 2 strong men in there, and he sent me to Stampede to turn heel, and I turned heel there, and then Vince still didn't want me back, so I said, fuck, I'm going to go to Texas. And then I went to Texas, and I stayed down there, and they gave me the strap, and I had Percy, which is Paul Bear, as my manager, and I just kept waiting and waiting, and Vince was just too busy with Patera. And then I just kind of, I was going to get out of it. I was going to go back to Vince, but he never really was going to. I wasn't going to be. I wanted to be tagging with Patera. That's what I wanted to do as a heel. And that's what I thought they were going to do, but it just never came. So I kind of got out of the business after that, and I got into my supplement business, Arcidi Strength Systems, where we really capitulated and took the market by storm because I had all that exposure from wrestling and lifting on the national scheme. And I was writing articles for Joe Weider's Muscle and Fitness. And then I came out with my vitamin line, and we're in all the GNCs. And that was like incredible money. I'd be in all the health clubs and the GNCs, a lot of GNCs. And I'd go to Europe to do exhibitions and health clubs to do exhibitions, GNCs, and they keep my line in there. And that was like, wow, that it really helped me out. It was a nice phase. And that's when I settled up here in Manchester, New Hampshire. And then after a while, I got into acting in '97. And that's when I started taking acting classes and stuff. It was too late, and I was too sore too. I mean, when you think about it, 15 years of heavy lifting. I mean, we're talking heavy behind the necks, 375 for reps, 350 for reps, benching, doing up reps with 550, 600. Your shoulders can only take so much. So I was slowly getting out of that. And I had a good run with the vitamin supplements. And then that's when I got into the acting. I started acting classes and acting non-union in '97. Yeah, so it's been a good ride. But I'm so glad. I'm happy you had a transition into something good that I had to still work at. But it was good. And I regret not staying in the wrestling longer, but that's just fate, you know. I ended up really capitalizing with the supplement line I had, you know. I mean, I was making as much money as a top 10 wrestler in the WWE, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Any injuries from wrestling that you sustained, or were you pretty much?
I was very lucky. I tore my meniscus down in Texas, but that healed on its own. That's when I was with the Warrior, battling Dingo several times, press slamming him and body slamming and stuff. And sometimes, to be fair, you know how they're supposed to help you a little. He wouldn't fucking help me. I had to fucking press him up all myself. I go, you motherfucker. You know? But that's how he was. He didn't have a big head down in Texas, but I guess that's when he got the head up in New York. And you know, to his advantage and to his prowess, he didn't make long matches because it wouldn't make his moves pronounced. Short power moves that would just kill people. That's what sold. That's what the people wanted. So it's actually good that he didn't listen to these people about trying to do a long match, because it would put him in a different classification, you know. But then he got, I don't know, when did he get the big head with Vince? I'm trying to figure that out.
Right around 1990, when they, you know, when he beat Hogan at WrestleMania and became the champ, and then '91 he became even worse.
Wow. So he would just leave a shot or just not show up and say, Vince, I want another, you know, $100,000 right now.
So he was at SummerSlam '91 at MSG. It's Hogan and him versus Slaughter, Adnan, and Shiki. 2-on-3. It's the main event of the show. He said I'm not going out there unless I get more money. So Vince goes, all right, I'm caving or whatever.
I know he's got Vince between a rock and a hard place. And that's right. I heard Vince says, okay, you're going to get it. But then Vince fired him that day.
Yes, right after the match. Yep.
Well, you can't blame Vince for that. I hate to see people running him like that. That's not right. That is not right at all. Why did he get like that? I liked the kid so much, too. He was cool. He was a smart guy, chiropractor, too. We talked about, he knew that I was in dental school for a while, and he was a full chiropractor, full-fledged. But that's fucked up, man. And then he died. He just died of a heart attack after that Hall of Fame speech when he was on his way back from the airport.
Yep.
Just
and it was
dropped right
weird
there in the parking lot, Johnny. Tell me about that.
Yeah. In the apparently in the, I guess from the limo, whatever, in almost, I guess, going inside to the place, he had it. But crazy because he had that speech the night before where he kind of almost said that he was dying. It was weird what he.
Yeah, it was almost
speech.
like a premonition of his afterlife. Yeah.
Yes. Very strange.
Fucked. Shit.
Great
You're
speech.
Right.
And it makes it even better now. It's like crazy. Oh my God.
I think you're right. I think, honestly, in our generation, I think it's at least 60% that pass now. God, I feel like the last fucking Mohegan.
Yeah, you are. You're up there. It's crazy, yeah.
Fuck. How old are you, Johnny?
42.
Wow. So you knew me when you were like 6 or 7, right?
4. Basically 4, 5, 6. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yep. I had the LJN. I had the towel.
Yeah,
I had the
it seems
toy.
like with the internet, we're getting a lot of new fans and stuff. This guy that ran the signings down in New York, good friend, good guy now, Joey Matthews. He was born in '84. I go, how the fuck? Why are you interested in me? You weren't even born then. He goes, I just got to liking you over the internet and your strength and everything. It's all over the internet. I go, that is so cool, man. It's almost like some people are going back to rock and roll, like Led Zeppelin and the Who and shit. Kids that are born in the 70s and 80s, but they download that music more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like ascertained to that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I have my best friend, his nephew is younger, and he likes all this old music and stuff. I was like, how do you even know what that is? He's like, oh, come on, it's all over the internet. It's, it's on YouTube. It's, I downloaded it and all this other stuff. But I was like, wow, I can't even believe you know some of this music. It's crazy.
Well, to give the kids some credence, you listen to the music today with the stupid fucking auto-tone, whatever. Yeah. It's not even them singing. Not to be an old fuck, but I still think the best psych songs for lifting and stuff was Zeppelin, The Who, the fucking Jay Giles band. I mean, that was cool, man. The other one, the last one of their kind is the band there. What the fuck's House of Pain. I mean, how cool is that as a lifting song? That's the balls,
Yep.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. And that's where we listen to them in the gym. Getting psyched up, and even after wrestling in the locker room and stuff, that shit would be blaring. It was great. Hey, how's Tony Atlas doing? I gotta talk to him. I gotta see him. Is he still looking big and stuff? He's like one of the last guys that still look fucking big for his age.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still working out or what's going on, but he looks huge. Still looks huge.
Wow. God bless.
They just did I don't know why they just did a Dark Side of the Ring episode. Where they talk about like the darker side of wrestling.
Yeah, they called me up about him. They wanted me to get my perspective on him. How did that turn out? Did they put him over or not?
I got to finish watching it. I didn't watch the whole thing yet, but it just seems like, I know they're calling it too much too soon, but I almost feel like it's a bit of a reach. It's not really a dark side. You know what I mean? Yes, he was poor at one point, but then, he came back to WWE a few times. So I don't know. To me, I feel like it was almost a little bit of a reach. He's not really a dark side type of character. He's almost like a success story. He's jacked. He's doing well. He's still alive, still in wrestling, still the signing. So
and he was living on the street for a few times too.
Yeah. Yep.
Unbelievable. The guy always looked good, but I remember one thing though stuck out with me. When I was in the WWE, even down world class, he was missing shots. He just missed shots, and that would piss off a promoter. You can't miss shots. I mean, I would never miss a shot. I don't care. I don't care if I have to hitchhike. You're on world TV, and they're promoting you. That's like number one creed. Never miss a fucking shot. And he missed a lot of shots, and that kind of fucked him up.
Definitely. Like he said, too much too soon. Maybe he's just getting into his own hype a little bit.
Yeah, that's too bad. They believe that. Who's another guy that used to believe his own hype a lot, too? Beefcake?
Oh, he's still going. He's still around. He seems pretty good, pretty cognizant.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like he's got a back problem, though. He's leaning forward all the time. I don't know if he's got that spinal stenosis, but they had a good run, him and Valentine, man. That was good. He talked about hunting with me, too, because he was brought up in Florida, and he was a big hunter. He told me about hunting. Him and Hogan used to go hunting, duck hunting, a few times during their wrestling, and they knew exactly where to hunt because these guys were good hunters, too. They love to fucking hunt, and I love to hunt, too, now.
Love it. Love those guys of that era. It's the golden age. They're all
amazing,
the best.
Man. It's amazing how we're still getting the news on this. It's crazy. But like I said, thank God for the acting and the film acting and the TV, because it's crazy. They still remember you. And then when you get on a series or something, like I was on Ray Donovan, and that was all over the internet. Ted Arcidi's on Ray Donovan. I had a great part in this series, and that's so cool, man. And it was cool because one of the assistant directors, he stops the whole production. He goes, listen, all you people here, because they're like younger people, I just want you guys to know that on the set today, playing Tony Rodson, whatever I was then, is Ted Arcidi. He was in the WWE, and he's in the first one to bench press over 700 pounds, and they're all fucking clapping. I go, wow. Yes. So that was really cool. I got pictures of him too. And he was a lifter too, back in the golden age. And he remembers, when I used to go to the Long Island Civic Center and Madison Square Garden. And so we're just shooting the shit. But there's always someone on the set that remembers you. It's pretty fucking wild. And it's so easy now. You click Wikipedia and there's a whole fucking story there too, which is cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Everything's at your fingertips, Johnny, basically.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. As we head towards the wind here, head towards finish, give us one last big push for the YouTube channel where everybody can get it and what they can see on there.
Ted Arcidi, and if you want, do you guys have a printed page too?
But we can put it on Twitter and Instagram and all the socials. Yeah.
Ted Arcidi YouTube. Just hit that, and you got those 6 or 7 things in there. And we're constantly adding. You got my world records. In the bench, behind the neck press, you got some wrestling. Me with Stud at the Full House, main event Boston Garden, and then you got the promos with me and Percy when I had the strap down in Texas and up at Stampede. And I think you're gonna have some fun. And thank you for spreading that. That's crazy. It's like I said, 2 months and we got over 1 million fucking hits, and it's only gonna get better. So no, that's great. And then of course they could get my Wikipedia page. Just type in Ted Arcidi. But Ted Arcidi YouTube, and thank you for all you people watching and promoting this and spreading the word. And I hope I can do due diligence and get on more TV for you guys too. So I'll keep you posted too when I get parts and stuff that's going to be on TV.
Awesome.
And film. Definitely.
Awesome. That sounds great. Ted Arcidi, the world's strongest man. Thank you so much for all the time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Johnny. And good to see everybody out there.